Welcome to Cardinals Insiders. Dave Pasch, Kyle Odegard, Mike Jurecki. Guys, the offense, we knew going in that it was going to be something that we're not used to seeing in the NFL. I mean, I've gone to a lot of college football practices. This is what I'm used to seeing. We don't see it in the NFL. What are your guys' thoughts when you see the tempo of the offense?
You know, we got a chance to see just glimpses of off-season workouts. I am glad that they obviously got a chance to practice it so everyone else can see it. It's fascinating, just the tempo, getting on the ball, getting rid of the ball, looking for matchups. I mean, we'll see if it's going to work, but obviously they got a plan, and I'm looking forward to seeing it during the season.
Like you said, I mean, we've seen college football do it forever, and the big question was, would NFL ever try it? You've seen the Chiefs add a little bit, the Eagles, the Browns. Now it seems like the Cardinals might be the furthest iteration into it, so very intriguing. I like the up-tempo. You hope the defense doesn't get too worn out, your own defense playing that many snaps, but definitely intrigued to see how it goes.
I know everybody wants to hear you guys' thoughts on Kyler, and I'm sure you've already given your thoughts, and we'll have more time to talk about him throughout camp. Let's talk about the guys that he's throwing to. And when you talk about the receivers, I think you have to include David Johnson in there because he's obviously a big part of the offense. They're going to get it to him a lot on the perimeter. But in terms of the wideouts, what do you think so far of that group?
I think you got Larry Fitzgerald, you have Christian Kirk. After that, the big question is who else is going to step up. And to me, I'm wondering how it's going to work out formation-wise, where a lot of your best players seem to be well-suited for the slot. So do you move some of those guys outside to get your best players on the field? Do guys on the outside, are they going to step up? A guy like Kevin White, Trent Sherfield, Damiere Byrd. So I think there's a lot of unknown at this point beyond Larry, Christian, and David.
The way I look at it, Dave, is you assume the 3 draft picks make the roster. Whether they are active on game day remains to be seen. So we got Fitz, Kirk, and the 3 draft picks. Now, Damiere Byrd, he's got a lot of speed. He can play in the slot. He's also got an opportunity to return kicks and punts. Farrell Cooper, who's played in a similar system maybe with the Rams, another guy that's going to get an opportunity. So maybe one of the 2 there. Trent Sherfield, he plays on special teams. And Kevin White, he flashed early in the offseason, a little inconsistent towards the end. He had a good catch the first day of camp. Big physical ex-receiver. So you got 5 spots and really got 4 or 5 guys fighting for 2. And I think when you look at 6 and 7, you may have to play on special teams.
As I look at the draft picks, the 3 guys at wide receiver, to me, what I've seen and just talking to some of the coaches, Keyshawn Johnson is ahead of the other 2 guys. And, Andy Isabella, the big games he had in college, I think it was LSU in Florida, I don't think they knew who he was. I mean, it's not like they were pressing him, so he could run by you. At this level, you're going to face pressure. He's got to learn how to run routes and beat press. Hakeem Butler's got to catch the ball more consistently. Keyshawn Johnson looks like a natural. I'm not sure if that means, he's going to have a big year or not, because it's always a learning curve for a receiver, but at least he seems further ahead right now.
Yeah, and I got the impression from Jerry Sullivan, just his route running alone, and when the Cardinals drafted him, Steve talked about his route running. You look at all these guys, UMass, Iowa State, and Fresno. Now, I know there's been great players come out of small schools, but the thing about Butler is getting off press coverage. And Marty Herney, the GM of the Panthers, during the draft process, I don't care how fast you are, how tall you are. If you don't get separation in the NFL, it's hard to throw the ball to you. And then when it comes to Andy Isabella, I mean, he's got the speed, he's got the attributes, but he's fighting to catch the ball a little bit. But I think this is all coachable and correctable, and having a guy like Jerry Sullivan will go a long way.
I think Isabella is such a big key for this offense. The stuff he can do, if you're looking at fly sweeps, bubble screens, seems like he's got this quickness that not a lot of guys on the roster have. So if he can step up, like we've talked about, you're looking for that 3rd or 4th offensive weapon, and it's just so unknown. To me, if Isabella could be that guy, that'd be great. Like you said, maybe it's Keyshawn Johnson, which nobody would have expected during the draft when he's the 3rd of the 3, but if he keeps showing it, you play the best guy.
Well, let's be honest, the top 3 targets are going to be Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and David Johnson. I mean, one of these young rookie receivers may catch 35, 40 balls. I see Kirk 70 to 80. Larry's going to get targeted, and David Johnson definitely needs to be involved in the passing game.
And I think looking back at last year and how that staff didn't use David Johnson, I think Cliff Kingsbury says, hey, we've got a guy who excels on the perimeter with the ball in his hands on the outside. We got to find ways to get him the ball.
I asked Kyler yesterday, I mean, we all know it's going to come down to the offensive line. If you're going to go with 10 personnel, which is 4 wide, you have to protect the edges. But Kyler, I asked him, and Cliff doesn't get credit for it, but they ran for 140 yards a game, and we hear air raid, we think of Hal Mumme and Mike Leach. I mean, David Johnson has to be the bell cow of this offense, and the fact that he's a dual threat, so it really starts, and Kyler said it starts with the running game and the protection up front, because that's going to open things up on the back end.
I think it's clear you want to throw the ball a lot, obviously, but Cliff Kingsbury is going to look at what the defense does, and if there aren't a lot of guys in the box, you're going to hand David Johnson the ball, and if they crowd the box, then you can throw it outside. So in a lot of ways, the defensive coverage might dictate it, but certainly he knows David Johnson is probably his most talented offensive player, running, passing. He's going to get him the ball in creative spots.
All right, that'll do it for another edition of Cardinals Insiders. For Kyle Odegard and Mike Jurecki, I'm Dave Pasch.